So we've just finished up the solo. Quick mention here, I don't think I mentioned one of the notes on the frets. The end of the solo was something like this, with the two drive models on. And then you go into the main riff. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Only 3 times this time. You only do that 3 times. And then you slide from the 7th on the B string to the 10th. Okay, that's all I did was play that note, slide from the 7th to the 10th. So you get... Then turn off the second drive model, go to the OD2 model. Gonna do that riff with the standard 3 times. And from that main riff, we're gonna go into the transition again with the octaves and go into the next verse, which is that octave verse again. And we've already covered that in a previous tutorial. But I do want to mention 2 things about the octave verse. First, I had a comment on the YouTube board for one of the previous tutorials, and someone said that a lot of people play the octaves with different fingers, and I agree, and I think Edge does it this way too. I don't play it the way Edge does. So let me zoom in here. This octave right here, those 2 fingers, I use the 3rd. I believe Edge uses the pinky, and someone mentioned that they like to use the pinky also. So instead of muting the D string with this finger, see that? I'm pushing down on the A string here. I'm muting the E string here. I'm muting the D string with this finger underneath. I'm not pushing there. And then this is the 3rd finger down, and in this case on the 7th fret. Well, some people don't like to mute, I think, with this first finger, this D string. So what you can do is switch from here to the pinky, okay? And then you can rest your 3rd finger on your pinky and touch this D string. You get the same thing. Now, the other advantage of using your pinky here, and I think I see Edge doing that, is that if you ever do these octaves further down the neck, this way, well, the frets are wider. So I have long fingers. I can easily use my 1st and 3rd finger. But some people, as the frets space out up here, it's easier to use your pinky, and that's another reason to do it. In this song, we've got the capo on the 3rd fret, so the widest frets are not being used, so it might not be a problem for you. But I did want to point out the comment on one of the videos. Thank you. I apologize who it was that made that comment, but it's a good comment. Don't feel that you have to play it this way. It's just what I ended up doing. I don't remember how or why I did, but some people do play those octaves like this. Then you can mute this D string with this finger. You can even mute it with this finger if you want, or even both fingers like that. Okay. I don't feel as comfortable using my pinky for whatever reason, so I use this. But then you still have to mute this E string, remember, with this finger up here. And in fact, if you use your pinky, you might be able to move this 2nd finger up over and mute the E string, and this one mute the D string. But I think that's a little too complicated. It's probably easiest to mute here, and then if you use the pinky, mute this finger with the 3rd finger. And you can still mute it with the 1st finger. So either way, whatever works for you, play the octave with the 3rd finger or with the pinky. So that was a good comment. The other thing I want to mention about the octaves is something that Tony pointed out to me. I missed a quick little strum in this octave verse. What I did, and this is on the previous tutorial and also right before, right after the solo, which we're going to cover in a moment. So we all know, we've already gone through that this is the standard riff. You've got this octave. I held on that last note. I just held it and then either went to the arpeggios or ended and went into the next section. Edge actually, as Tony pointed out, does a quick little another strum right there. So I'm just going to play this last part of this, the second part of the verse, and then show you what I mean. So it'll be something like. So you saw I just went dun, da, da, dun, dun. So again, what I had done in the cover and in the previous tutorial was this. I held and then went. Whereas if you want to get more specific, what Edge did, and I just missed this little strum when I was learning the song, you do this. So you throw in this. And you do that before the arpeggios, and you're also, after the solo, you're going to go into this full verse. At the end of that verse, you're going to throw that in, and then we're going to do the harmonics. So I just wanted to point out those two things. At the end of the day, then we get this. Go right into those harmonics. So in summary, we've covered the solo. From the solo, you're going to go to your OD2 model. You're going to do the main riff again. You're going to go into the transition into the octaves. Then go into the octave verse. You're going to do that once. You're going to do the second one. On the second one, you're going to go. And then we're going to go into the harmonics. If I turn off the delay, just so you hear what that little strum sounds like, it goes like this. That's it. That's all it is. I just missed that. We've just finished up that verse, and now we're going to go through what Edge plays on the harmonics. That'll be next.
Knock it off.